Welcome to the lesson on aggregation functions. In this video, we will learn about what these functions do, why they are useful, and we will go over the different types of aggregation functions with some examples in SQL. What exactly are aggregation functions? Aggregation functions are used to provide summarized information on the columns selected in a dataset. To understand this better, let's start by looking at this scenario. Suppose you have employee data of an organization and you want to analyze how the growth of the organization has been recently. So first, let's visualize this data set. Now to visualize our data set and to write our queries, we will be using Metabase. The URL and credentials for Metabase will be provided to you on the LMS. So just log into Metabase with the credentials you have and you will see this screen. Once you are on this screen, click Ask a Question, select Native Query and then select MySQL. Let us consider the table employees detail for our example. First, we will see the content of the table. So to see the content, first I will mention just the comment over here, which is the table name, employee details. Now to write the query, to see the content of the table, the query that we will write is select star from employees detail. To execute the query, select the query that you want to execute and just click on this button. We see all these observations. Each row represents the employee's information. We have several columns in this data set. Let's quickly go over them through them individually. Our first column is employee ID. This is a unique ID assigned to each employee that helps us identify the employee. Next, we have first name and last name of the employee. Email, which has email of the employee. If given, hire date, the date at which the employee was hired. Department refers to the department in which the employee works. Then we have the gender. Salary is the employee's salary per month. And finally, we have region ID in which he or she works. Now that we have seen the data set, let's start analyzing it. To start with, let's say we want to find the minimum and maximum salary. How can we accomplish this with aggregation function? So first we will write the comment what we want to achieve. We want to achieve minimum and maximum salary. Well, how about we try min and max functions on the salary? So the query that we need to write is something like this. Select min salary, that is the column name, as min salary, comma, max salary, as max salary from employees detail table. Now we have to execute this query. And we can see the results below. As mentioned earlier, aggregation function performs a calculation on the column and returns a single value. We see the minimum value of salary is 20,542, whereas maximum value of the salary is 1,66,976. Let's proceed further Now let's find the sum of the salaries for sports department. As we have been writing, let's write a comment what we want to find. We want total salary for sports department. First, let's break down what is being asked in the question. Let's first find the sum of all the salaries. For that, we will write select sum salary as total salary. From which table we want? From employees detail. Let's see what we will get post executing it, and we can see a huge amount over here, but we are not done yet. We have to consider the second part of the question, which deals with a filter for sports department. If you remember our prior lessons, we need to use the where clause to filter data based on some condition. So we need to write some code to filter for just the sports department. Hence, we add on to the query by writing the following code. We will add over here where clause, where department is equals to sports. Execute this query, and we can see that the result is 29,86,304 rupees. So this is the total salary that is being paid in sports department. Now let's proceed further with the next question. Now let's find the total number of employees who work for department clothing and sports. So let's add a comment over here. Total number of employees in clothing and sports department. This is what we have to find out. Let's understand what's being asked in the question. Here we just have to return a simple count of employees. So let's first write find the total number of employees in the organization. The query for this will be select count employee ID as employee count from employees detail. Let's execute this query. We got the below output which says 1000 employees are there in the organization. Here we are using the count functions and the column employee ID, but we are not done yet. According to the latter part of the question, we need to find the total number of employees who work for department clothing and sports. Here we need to filter based on a condition. Hence, we will use the where clause. To account for this, the query will be where department in clothing, comma, sports. Let's execute this query. So we got the result as 83, means 83 employees are working in this organization for clothing and sports department. Here we use the in clause that you learned about in logical operators lesson, which checks if the value is present in a list of values. In our case, the list is clothing and sports. The outcome is 83 employees from departments clothing and sports. So let's proceed further with the next question. Suppose you want to find the average salary of employees for region 1. What we need to find out is average salary of employees for region 1. So let's proceed further. Breaking down the problem, we have to return the average salary. Here let's use the average aggregation function, but note that we need to filter out this matrix for only region 1. In the further videos of joins, we will see more details on regions table. So let's write the query, which is select average salary as average salary from which table? This is employees detail table, and we need to add a where condition over here. Let's add that as well. Where region ID is equals to 1. And let's execute this. Here we are using average function and the column salary, and in the where clause we have mentioned the region ID to be 1 as per the problem statement. We get an average value of 89,868.91 rupees. So this is how we use the average function. Now that we have gone over several code snippets, let's generalize the syntax of aggregation functions. As usual, we have the select statement and then the aggregation function name like sum, count, average, etc., which we want to use. Inside the bracket, we mention the column name to be aggregated. Then we have the keyword as and then the alias name. What is alias name? Alias name are often used to make column names more readable, and it is temporary name. We provide an alias name for aggregation function to make the output more readable. Lastly, we mention the table name from which we want to retrieve the data. To summarize in this lesson, we learned about various aggregation functions. Min is the keyword which is used to get the minimum value from the column which is specified. Similarly, max keyword is used to get the maximum value. Sum aggregation function is used to get the total value or the sum of the values in the specified column. Count aggregation function returns the count of the number of data value. Average, that is AVG, returns the average value from the column. In the next lesson, we will learn how to use the aggregation functions along this group by clause.